Good morning, afternoon, evening to you, wherever you are. In our last video, we implemented a circular bullet that can move along axis and also can move in a wave fashion. Today, we are going to finish implementing the rest of the game so that the end result will look like what I showed you in the earlier demo. Next task is to create a rotator, which is a rectangle, and all the bullets will be fired from that rotator. In order to do that, we are going to create a new scene. We are going to use ColorRect. So we are going to use this ColorRect to represent that rotator. Okay, right click, we save this as a scene. We're just going to call this Rotator. I'm going to add a script. We're going to call this Rotator. We don't have to worry about ready. However, in process, we are going to change the rotation. We are going to use degree to read in this method to change the rotation. Here, I'm going to give it rotation speed variable. Rotation speed degree, okay. Then I'm going to multiply by delta. Okay, then we are going to introduce this variable. I will use int as the data type, and default value is going to be 0. When it's 0, then that means there won't be any rotation change. Okay, so let's try this out. I'm going to come to here. Okay, so I have I'm going to change it to 40. Now run this application. Now you can see it's over there at the left corner. Let me change it. Let me drag it here. Okay. Now you see the rotator is rotating. Okay. Now let's change this the name to Rotator, and we're not going to use circle bullet now. Okay, we save it. So what we're gonna do next is move this rotator around. So we are going to do the same thing, right? We use position. So we are going to use give it vector 2D. I'm going to use a variable called horizontal speed and 0 because we don't want to move this along y-axis, and also we always use delta to make it movement consistent. Okay, let's export this. So it's horizontal speed. I'm going to give it int. So default is going to be 0 because I don't want this rotator to move. Okay, let's go back to inspector and change the value to maybe to 100 for now. Let's run this app. As you can see, it's moving. One thing we need to fix is the rotation. The rotation is not around the center. What we can do is, let's go back here. So you go to layout, go to transform. Here I want to make this a square. So I give it 40 size, 40 by 40. So as you can see, it's still, the pivot point is still at the left top corner. I want to make this in the center. So what I can do, I can come to pivot offset. I give it 20 and 20. Now you can see the pivot is in the center. Okay, let's run this. So now you see it's moving along x-axis and also rotate around center. Next thing we can do is use a timer to move this rotator left and right periodically. So from here we add a timer. So we're just gonna call this a move timer. Okay, let's go to here. So on the node we have so many signals, right? Signals basically means a callback. If you know JavaScript or any UI framework, you know, on click, on load ready, so on double click. So whenever those event happens, so there will be callback, right? So in the callback you implement the logic you want to execute. So in this case, I want to use timeout event that is offered from timer. So double click. So I want to add this event to rotator. So I connect it. So this means whenever like a timeout happens, this method will be invoked. So here what I need to do is I just change this speed to negative. Okay, so that's what I can do. Let's here we do some additional configuration. I want to run this every 2 seconds and start this automatically. Let's try this out. 1, 2, 1, 2. So now this timer is working. So here, actually, I want to make this timer to be only applicable to rotator. So it's better to add it as a child of rotator. So the only thing remains is firing the bullets. That's what we are going to do next. So now let's go back to the script. Here I'm going to add another timer. I will call this fire timer. Everything the same, everything remains the same. So here is the wait time and auto start. And here I want to use the same event. Okay, so here this is where I should be implementing firing the bullets. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to introduce additional variable so that we can use these variables to control the bullets number and how fast they should be. So what I'm going to do here, the first one is going to be I'm going to call the first one number of bullets. So it's int. I will give it default value of 12, and also I want to have a distance variable. So distance from center, which is also an int. Last one, I want to introduce another one. So this one gonna be bullet speed. So it's also integer. I give a default value 100. So in here, so whenever this fire timeout, I'm going to fire some bullets. So first I need to calculate the angles. 2.0 times pi. So this is like 360 degrees. Depends on how many number of bullets. So this should be the angle between each bullets. Since the rotator can rotate, right? We need to remember its initial angle. From its initial angle, then we start laying out the bullets. So we are going to use init angle to record its initial rotation value. And then we are going to generate the bullets based on the number of bullets passed in through the code. So here we are going to create bullets. Before doing that, we need to preload it into the code so that we are able to instantiate a bullet. Bullet dot instantiate. Okay, we're going to call this cast it to circle bullet. We have many properties here that we can initialize, so we're going to give it a color yellow, give it speed, so speed gonna be bullet speed, so we have that variable here. We can also change it amplitude. I'm not going to make this a sine cosine movement initially, so I will just give it a value of 0. Same thing for frequency and offset. Okay. The tricky thing is the position. Position, we are going to use rotator's position plus its pivot location. From here, then we also need to calculate the value based on the angle. So it's going to be a vector. Here for x, we are going to use cosine. Cosine, here we are going to use angle times I, then plus init angle. For y value, we are going to use a sine. It's going to be the same thing. Okay, once that is done, I need to use distance. Okay, now we are going to add this. So we are going to use get parent, add child, call deferred. So when call deferred, this means we are going to add this bullet in a asynchronous way. So it's good for the UI and it's good for responsiveness of the game. Now let's try to run this app and see what we get. Okay, only one bullet, but not 12 as we defined. Okay, I think I know why circle bullet is not working. The reason being, I need to also respect the initial angle, which direction this circle bullet is pointing to. In order to do that, I just have to introduce another variable here. I could just call it init rotation. So I give it 0 as default. So whenever we draw this, we need to rotate this to that direction. If you remember from last video, I said once we rotate this, rotate this bullet to angle. Since we are using transform.x and transform.y, we don't need to worry about using sine cosine, and so this local coordinate is going to take care of the rotation as well. So let's come back to Rotator. Here we just have to make sure we initiate the init rotation value here. So it's going to be angle times I plus init angle here. Let's run this now. Now, as you can see, all 12 bullets are firing, and the pattern looks pretty good. So let's make this window bigger and also add a background. We're going to project settings, and we come to window. Let's make this 1960 and 1080 for the height. We also, the stretch mode, we're going to use viewport and close it. And we also want to add a background for this. I'm just going to use a ColorRect. So this one, I drag it to the top. So here, and then I just use from the color picker, I'm going to pick something very dark. And okay, that looks good to me. So let's come back here, and we just have to drag it. We just want to make sure we cover the border. Okay, now let's move this one to a little bit to the center. Okay, run it. Okay, now it looks like what I showed you in the demo, right? Okay, let's work on the next part, which is the last one. We're going to add some glow effect to the game. When we need to have a glow effect, we are going to need a world environment. So here we need to create a new environment. Then we click into the environment, we configure its background mode to be canvas. And we can enable glow by check this box. From here, we are going to change the blend mode to screen or additive. Additive. So one value we do want to pay attention to is the HDR threshold. For any component, any node, we want to have this glow effect. We want to make sure its self-modulate RGB value need to be greater than this value in order to have that glow effect. Okay, let's try to enable, configure this glow effect here. When we select the rotator, I'm going to add a new canvas item material for this so that I'm able to change the mode. For the blend mode, I'm just going to use add. Then I'll come back here. So let me just change the intensity and strength. So you started to see this effect. If this glows too strong, we can just turn on this normalized to make it less strong. So let's run this application to see. Okay, now as you can see, everything started to have the glow. So one thing I want to change here is to make the bullets color a little bit, more randomized. And also I need to take care of the performance, potential performance degradation here, because I never reclaim the memory once the bullets are running off screen. So let's do that before we wrap up this tutorial. Let's go to circle bullet script. So no, actually not here. So we need to go to Rotator. So here I'm going to introduce constants. So array of colors. So I'm going to use color.yellow, green yellow, maybe green yellow. Okay. Color dot hot pink, blue. Okay, let me use, okay, deep sky blue. Okay, color maybe orange something. Okay, so it's orange. And every time before I go into the loop, I will choose a color. I will just call it current color. So I need to randomize this, right? So I'm going to use colors. So I will use range. Doesn't have like auto support, auto completion here. Color, okay, so okay, then here I will set up the color, use current color. So this is gonna give us like a randomized color for every batch of bullets. And the other thing I want to do here is I want to add another timer. Not timer, actually, it's, this one should be since one bullet is off screen, I need to delete it, right? So I have to go to the bullets. So here I'm going to add a child node notification here. Notification on screen notifier 2D. It has a callback. Screen exited. So whenever screen exited, I'm going to remove this bullets by calling queue free. Okay, let's run this one more time. Okay, as you can see, now the color start to variate, and also, of course, you can now see if like the performance has been improved or not. Let's run. Let's change this configuration. I'm going to. So I'm going to have how many bullets? I'm going to have 100 and 300. Okay, distance. Okay, maybe 100. Let's run this one last time. Okay. All right. Now you can see everything works as expected. So I will just wrap up this video for now. If you have any questions, please ask in the comment section or come to our Discord server to post your question there. Thank you, and I will see you in the next time.